Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how I shade my drawings like this. I basically do a two-tone kind of cell shading, so I do it in all my work pretty much. Like in this drawing, I just used 2 shades of red for Deadpool, 1 shade of red, 1 shade of yellow for Spider-Man, and then for both of them 1 shade of blue and 1 black. Here's a few close-ups of the drawing so you can have a look at what I'm talking about. This is the pens I'm using in this video. They're great, I would definitely recommend them. Here's an example of what you don't want to do. You don't want to start with the darkest color and then try put the lighter color on top, because with these alcohol markers you're just not going to be able to see it. So as you can see, I'm trying to go over with the lighter color and it's just doing nothing. Here's an example of the right way to do it. So you want to start with the lightest color, and then once that's dried you want to layer the darker color on top of it, and it just looks way better. You can actually see the 2 colors. Here's an example of how to blend these markers. Again, this isn't the technique I used for this drawing, but I know some of you guys will probably be curious, so that's just a little demonstration. Alright, time to get into the example of how to color in Deadpool. So I'm starting by putting a sheet underneath the page so that the markers don't bleed through to the next page. And then, like I talked about, I'm just going to start with the lightest color. So I'm going in with the yellow first, and then I'm going in with the lightest red. I'm just going to fill in the rest of his face. And then after that, I'll go in with the darkest red and the shadows. Before adding the darkest red, I'm just adding the yellow highlights on the other parts of the drawing. Usually that's kind of how I do it. Like I do all the lightest in a drawing and then just work my way to the darkest colors. It's just what I find works best. So now I'm going to go in with the darkest red and just fill in all the kind of shadows. I had it all mapped out in the pencil sketch beforehand, so it's just going over it and filling it in, and it starts coming together a bit more. Just adding a light blue here for the kind of metal on his neck, and then I'm going to go in with the brown on the sword handles. So the sword handles are a perfect example of this cell shading, because it's just 1 shade of brown, 1 shade of yellow, but then with the combination of them, and then when you ink it on top, it just looks very clean in my opinion. It's very cool, like comic book style. And now I'm going to start inking the drawing. This is always the last step for me. Some people like to ink before they color. The reason I don't is because the inks that I use, they bleed when I go over them with the alcohol markers. I'm pretty sure you can get like waterproof ones that don't bleed, but I quite like the ones I use, and honestly I've just gotten used to colouring first and then inking last, and I quite like doing it that way. I think it turns out pretty cool, but if you want to ink first and then colour, go for it. This is just how I do it. And as you might have noticed, I'm using a very thick brush tip for this bit, and then now I'm going in with a fine liner and just tidying it up, doing the outlines and doing slightly more detailed bits that need a smaller pen for. And there we have it. That's the drawing complete. That's how I shade. I hope this helped you guys, because I've had quite a few comments asking how to shade. So let me know what other kind of videos or tutorials you want to see.